morning.
Good morning.
Everybody's nice.
Mr. Mayor, if you could remember to announce, I've got my email, I've got my computer, so if people want
Okay.
Oh, text or email?
Text it.
to email,
Yeah.
better.
Because it comes right away.
I got mine. That's why I bring mine too.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. We're going to call our meeting to order. I'd like to welcome our council members and city staff with us this morning, and those of you who are listening with us by air, being on Streamline. We welcome you to join in with us as well this morning, and we would stand to have prayer by pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Latham and prayer by Councilmember Reed.
Republic for which it stands, nation, indivisible, and justice for all.
If you would like to pray with us this morning, would you please remain standing? Dear God, I pray that we seek your advice. Let us not make decisions based upon what we know, but let us act based upon your wisdom. Please guide us, God. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and our minds in your hands so that you may direct us. Amen.
Amen. For those of you who are listening to us this morning, if you would like to call in and give comments, ask questions, you could call us on 706-707-8801. Text David Nunn with that same number, David.
No,
Email.
email at dnunn@madisonga.com.
ga.com. Thank you so much. And we're having this call meeting this morning to amend our ordinance of local state emergency. I think we've got a response from most of our council members for our takeout restaurant services, those who do sell alcohol and beer, wine and beer, to allow them to do this with takeout services until all of this is over. Are there any questions any council member would like to add? I think it's going to enhance the service, hopefully of our restaurant owners, and help them survive this critical time.
So will they reach out to Ashley to figure out the logistics behind that, or when that happens, or can they do that this evening, or so?
And this
Okay.
will start immediately, probably for this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So do they know that we're doing this, Ashley? Are you going to notify them, or?
I did not notify them as I wasn't sure how the vote would go, so
Mhm.
just gonna wait and see how it went this morning before making any comments.
Okay. If there are no more comments from our council members, any council member have any comments they would like to make? If not, if we could receive a vote to amend this local state emergency ordinance to allow merchants, for those who do have takeout services and those who do sell beer and wine, to do that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would move that the existing beer and wine license holding restaurants in Madison be allowed to extend carry-out sales to unopened containers for beer and wine as an amendment to our emergency order last week.
Thank you.
Second.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none. That ordinance has been amended to allow then our local restaurants to do sell not open container, but containers with the takeout.
And it does
carry
not,
orders.
does not include distilled spirits.
Right, it does not.
It mix up a
Right.
jug of
Right.
hooch.
Bloody
and,
Marys.
Right.
Yeah.
Beer and wine
Send
only,
it out,
yeah.
going on this, see any pickle jars going out the door.
Thank you so much. This time, we'll get an update on COVID-19. I think pretty much going as it should in our city, David, and we'll talk about what the governor has done.
Yeah, we're still getting outstanding cooperation from the business community and the residential community. Things are, look like a whole string of Wednesday afternoons around here. It's things are really, really quiet, and people are just buckling down. I called and had good conversations with all three of our big box stores yesterday about concerns about crowding and long lines and whatnot, and I was super impressed that the managers that I talked to and how willing they were to make adjustments, the things they'd already done, the steps they'd already taken within their stores, recognizing the problems they had. They're shutting down certain entrances, exits, to help with social distancing, to meter. Lowe's actually said they're going to limit the number of people in their garden center, because I think that was this weekend it was a major crush there, and there were lines, extremely long lines there in that. So hopefully they can monitor those situations, and that I wouldn't recommend at this time doing any kind of store count. That's going to be super hard to administer, and I'm not saying I'm making any excuses for them, but we just encourage people to maybe go to the grocery store, go to the store at odd times, and don't go at peak times, or if the store looks really busy, just kind of put it off to another time.
Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
Diana has me on the quest to try to find Lysol and some sanitizing wipes, and so I decided this morning to go out early when the stores open, and I was there at 7. And I went to both. I went to Ingles and Walmart, and I did notice they were crowded. I think people are anxious about what the governor had to say yesterday, but people are, to your point last week, Eric, people are deliberately and intentionally going out of their way, waiting. If you see someone coming that's going to turn, I mean, it's really working. I mean, people have the message and are trying their best for their sake and others to avoid each other. So.
Yeah, I actually went out to Walmart late yesterday, and they actually have it roped off. They have only one entrance to
That's
go
right.
in. You can go in on just one side.
Right.
And they actually have markers, even if you have to stand outside.
Yeah.
They actually have markers, so it's 6 feet apart. So I think that really helps.
And they're doing, I know a lot of people are taking advantage of their curbside where you
Yes.
can order and then drive up, and I
Yes.
would encourage as many people to do
Yes.
that as possible.
So at least our citizens are taking it seriously, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah,
and we certainly appreciate
so.
them doing that.
And I also will be on a call with the industries today. The chamber is putting together a conference call or a Zoom or whatever it's going to be for the industries in the county about what they're doing and what's going on and what their challenges are and what they're seeing, to try to get a unified message. I think our calls, Bob's been reaching out to them. They're taking this thing very seriously as well, and trying to keep their workforce healthy and engaged. And I've stressed this to our folks. It's important what we do at work and social distancing,
Yes.
but also being responsible when you're at home, not getting in gatherings, not doing any extra visiting, because all our employees are essential. We've not shortened any time. We've not changed anything yet. Not to say we won't do that if we need to. I think this governor's guidance said even in essential, even in government, you should not have over 10 people in any office and have separation. And we don't violate that. We're in good shape, and everybody's been doing a very good job.
So
How
I know there was some worry about the manufacturing. So Bob's going to talk to he's gonna do a conference call, but, and would you mind
Yes.
asking him to send us an email kind of, assuring us that they're just kind of I mean, since nobody's privy to that conference call, it would be nice to have
I-
some kind of email update or a press release or something that we can
I'll
share.
get him to do that.
Thank
yes.
you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be in on that Zoom meeting, mainly because I have manufacturing
Yeah, okay.
experience. And I asked Bob if I could sit there so I could bring it back to the
That's
council.
great, yeah.
And that sort of
Good.
thing. If you really look at manufacturing, if you have never been in a plant, you don't understand it, social distancing is almost in place because of the operations. You know, Mannington, they don't have 100 people sitting around one table manufacturing something. So the process itself really facilitates social distancing. And in most cases, that they can do this, and they're really practicing it. But they're also coming up with other ideas like breaks. So many people, only so many people can be on break at a time. So we'll find all that out, and I'll report back.
Awesome, thank
Good.
you, thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Ed. And I'll probably join David this afternoon on that conference call as well.
Yeah.
David, how about our employee sanitation, those workers outside, are they having to wear masks or anything?
I noticed some of them are wearing masks, but this time of the year, it's hard to know whether they're wearing masks because they're concerned about coronavirus or if it's just the pollen and you're being 7,000 or 10,000 in a day.
All right.
So, we're not mandating that. I understand there's some guidance that's going to be coming down for, if we meet again, we may all have masks
Yes.
on since we're out in public.
Yes.
And that's all fine. We're gonna do what we have to do to get through this thing. We're still learning slowly, how insidious this thing is and how easily transmitted it is.
So just in case they do, are we equipped, do we have enough masks
We
for
do
them?
not,
or-
we do not. And I think it's more for individuals when they're out in public. So we'll deal with that when when it comes down.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know where to find masks right now if I tried.
What
If
if
that mandate comes down, then,
Right.
the hospitals and doctors' offices better.
Well, and I think
Guard
they're
their
being
stockpile.
careful to say not the
N95.
N95, but even if it's a
Just a
cloth
scarf or.
scarf
Yeah.
or something like that. But I
Yeah.
think that's coming down.
We should all
I
get
think
bandanas.
Yeah,
some point.
it's coming down. Right. Okay.
But I'd encourage the public, because we're gonna get tons of questions from businesses about the governor's order.
We are.
Please first, because we're still reading it, we're still trying to get a read on it, and the very best thing that can be done is for this to be applied uniformly and fairly statewide. And we don't want to come down with a read locally that's in conflict with what. So be patient with us. We don't know the answers. We didn't write this, so we're gonna get through it. We're gonna go through it and give the best answers if we can give answers. But I'd encourage the public to read this first. And please know that grocery stores are not going to be shut down.
Right.
Food
Right.
stores, supplies. There's
Right.
still tons of things that are going to be open. We've got to have food
Right.
and supplies to
Medical
live.
supplies,
So let's pace ourselves.
So- But my understanding is the more stricter of the two will go into effect.
My read and what people are telling me is this is the law.
That's the law. So
That's the law.
we're throwing our
We're
ordinance
done.
out, yeah.
Right.
This is the
So,
law.
This is it.
Mr. Jimmy, do you understand? Is that your basic understanding so far?
Yes, it's obviously like any other thing, it's going to be difficult to enforce because it takes so much cooperation. But as I understand it, this declaration has the impact of law.
Some clergy have been concerned about services, church services. 10 or more, 10 or less, drive-in service, How would that affect that, Mr. Carter?
Well,
Well, I think, 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 I think
think churches are exempt in this law, aren't they?
I think they have to exercise social distancing.
They have to
and-
exercise
and
They
go
can
no
even
greater
operate,
than
but they
10.
have to exercise
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
distancing.
We've got executive summaries, we've got, bullet point, there's a lot of things coming out, and we'll try to publish as much as we can on the website. But this, I just got this, and it simply said, for the duration of the executive order and any extension thereof, all declarations, ordinances, orders, or other actions taken by local governments since March 1, 2020, related to COVID-19 are suspended. In effect, they are no longer in effect and cannot be enforced unless they are exactly the same as the executive order.
Right.
So in cases, this may be less strict than ours. But again, look for your business, look for your activity. Read the information. There's going to be a ton coming out this morning.
Do we have, I've had people call me and ask me what the time of enforcement, when does this go into effect? Today at noon?
6 o'clock.
6
Six
p.m.
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6
6
o'clock
o'clock
tonight.
this
So,
evening.
so if people have questions about this, who do we tell them to?
That is an excellent question.
So I see that salons and all that it's
Everybody has
over.
to close
Yes,
down.
so I would
Yeah.
imagine
Yes.
that that goes into effect at 6.
6
And
o'clock
I
today.
I haven't seen anything else in this or that's come out that may be different, except for the church services, which we had as protected, but now he's saying that 10 or less with social distancing. Is
10
that
or
right?
less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
okay.
David, in response to your question, a violation of this order is a misdemeanor.
Okay.
So a violation of the order is a misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor.
So, but do I understand it correctly when they say that the next 2 weeks is gonna be in-house shelter, no getting out, no more going to the grocery store or the
No,
pharmacy?
No,
no, not at all.
It's no different than what we've have in place right now, where those are essential things, so you have to have a reason to go.
Right.
You can't just like cruise around the grocery store
Right.
or socialize at Walmart, right?
So it's shelter in place. So you're in place unless you actually need
And
essentials.
That's right,
So if
yeah.
you need food or
Stay in place.
you stay in place, stay
Stay
in
in
your home.
place.
Don't go visiting people and don't allow people to come visiting you.
That's
That's-
the one that I see, people don't really understand, and and it's normal. I mean, this is against human behavior, but,
And that's why they
visiting
keep-
your friend, and my girls have been locked down and that's the hardest thing for them to get
Right.
is, why can't I go see my friend?
Right.
You can't.
And that's why they keep saying social distances.
That's
I
right.
haven't seen my grandkids, and
I know,
I haven't seen mine.
it's
That's
tough times.
tough.
It really is,
Yeah.
But it's for the sake of all of us, I think. Yeah. Is there anything else that Mr. Carter needs to tell us about this ordinance, this executive order? David, anything else we need to know? Citizens need to know?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor. It's so new, and again, we'll be getting guidance from GMA throughout the day. We'll be passing that out. We'll be getting the most helpful, whether there's, sheets or handouts or whatever it is, if we feel like they're helpful to understanding this. But simply put, if you don't have business outside, don't get outside.
That's
I mean,
exactly it.
if you got a question about whether your job is critical infrastructure, there are great lists out there. We'll do the best. If we can answer any questions, we'll try to answer any questions you have.
And now that City Hall is close to the public, if someone wants to come by and ask for a handout, how could we get that handout to them?
We're just going to post it. We're going to, if people want to go old school and get something in paper, perhaps we can put some, we'll see about putting some.
Ken has been so great about posting everything on our website. At Treble and Tamplin has everything about the small business, how the CARES Act and what Congress passed helps small businesses. So I would refer you to their website. But our website is really, really good, and I appreciate Ken being so diligent in posting, keeping it up to date, and so that our citizens will know. But like Harry said, not everybody has it. So
No.
and you know, and there's only so much we can do. But
As he said earlier, I would think not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
put something out front so they can maybe
on the
pick
on
it
the
up.
door.
Or put it on the door, I don't
Yeah.
know, but not everybody has Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure out another form, or maybe just put it in the newspaper, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
have all the,
Paper's closed for the week, I mean.
Oh,
they
that's
won't come
right.
out no more
I don't
till
have-
No, I
Wednesday.
think they're essential. They,
Yeah.
so I think
yeah.
they'll.
I don't have all the answers, but I just know a lot of people don't have Wi-Fi right
Yeah,
now.
and there's no curfew under this, right? Executive order? No.
No.
Not that I've seen.
Okay, so there's no curfew here.
And for those that do have Wi-Fi, let's just remind them it's madisonga.com. It's a really excellent website, a lot of links, how to apply for food stamps, a lot of really good information there. So that's madison.com, or
GA,
madisongaa.com.
So, go
We,
ahead,
we
Ken.
we can print it out and tape it to the inside of the glass wall at the
Mhm.
entrance to this building. We've been doing
Yes.
that with our stay-in-place orders, and it's
Okay,
only 9
great.
pages, so we should be able to just tape it to the inside.
Thank you,
so-
Ken.
Good. Thanks, Ken. Yes, Ashley?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Attorney Carter. As far as we said that this executive order that was passed is now the law, but we also just passed our ordinance to be able to allow to go alcohol, beer, and
I
wine.
wasn't gonna bring it up.
Well, I
I
was
think, I
just,
think we should just skate, I think we should just skate through that. I'm
well,
not
since
saying,
since it allows carry out still in the executive order, I guess.
I
it
think
would-
that's fine, yeah.
yeah, I think it's.
We've just, the carryout is subject to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
I think
believe
if they're
so.
getting
And
carry out, it
Yes,
shouldn't
it's
matter what
carry
they're
out.
carrying out.
As long as the lid
It
is
could
on
be
it.
cake.
There are quite a few other,
As long as the lid is on it.
quite a few other cities and counties that are doing that to help, accommodate, try to help.
And we have not heard, if we are going to have our GMA convention in Savannah in June or not. Have you heard, David? I don't know what's.
No, I
what's
think
the
they're
scope
gonna
is.
be holding off as long as they can on that, I'm certain. I think the next couple of weeks
I
will.
think a few weeks ago, I believe GMA set a date certain of which they would decide.
It's in
I
May,
remember that. I
it's
don't
May,
remember.
but I can't remember what it.
April 25th
Oh.
to decide.
Was it April?
The June convention, and I said that would be the sort of date they would make a decision, yea or nay.
Do we have any updates from our state reps? Have you talked to Representative Belton or
I have
Senator
not.
Jones? I've talked briefly to Senator Jones before the governor. But is there any update? Are they in contact with you about any of this, like a
No.
collaborative effort? Okay.
No,
They're probably trying to stay quarantined too.
Yeah.
Didn't-
Well,
didn't
Senator
Burton have
Jones
it?
was
What, Burton
quarantined.
quarantined at
Yeah,
one time?
he
I thought
was.
he
He's out though now.
Yeah.
So, but just
I did send an email to the governor, for some reason, he did not respond to me. Give my opinion, but I'm still.
well, I'm so appreciative of his actions. So he's a winner for me for now for sure. I'm very grateful.
I think he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, we
He-
need
he
to,
is.
patchwork does
He-
not work with this virus, so we
He's
had
doing
to
the
all
right
be on the
thing.
same page.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I don't like this preemption section at all, suspending our powers. I think this, from my first read of this thing, it basically takes away all local governments' powers to suspend their local ordinances. And I think that the cities have a right to react to particular locations and local situations like we just did with our restaurants. If you want me to, I'll be glad to look into this, compare it with what we've got, because frankly, I don't know that it's basically it just looks like 10 people gatherings in gathering places and 6 feet of spacing except in your house.
So you want to try to recraft this, or what are you saying?
Well, I think that frankly, my advice to the city would be go ahead and pass it. And to the extent that it matches, that's fine. I don't think that there's any, the restaurants, private social clubs, dine in, take out, curbside, pick up and delivery. I think that you could still permit the restaurants to, for example, furnish packaged beer and wine as a part of their takeout in the interim. I don't think it would preempt that.
I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot of pushback either way. I don't think Department of Revenue or anybody else is gonna fuss about a 2 or 3 week.
I doubt it. This is just for a couple of weeks, I assume.
Yeah.
It's just
10
for a
days.
couple of
agree.
weeks.
I certainly agree with you. I'm just thinking that, to say that you've got to track this order and mirror it to be able to enforce it, I think it was a bad mistake taking that power away from the city to go out and enforce this executive order, which supposedly preempts municipal home rule.
I guess my thoughts would be, since it's just a couple of weeks, let's just live with it.
Yeah, we don't
You
have
know,
any choice.
We
let's
don't
just
have a
live with it.
choice.
It's an
Right.
executive order from the governor. So let's just live with it for a couple of weeks and,
It really mirrors ours in a lot of respects, if it's right. I mean,
Yes.
so I think the only thing that we're arguing is the takeout, right?
think,
With the, so, I mean.
Well, the takeout was authorized in here, and it didn't say what.
Yeah, that's right. So
We
I
came
think-
back to that. I don't know if Jimmy heard us on that, but
Yeah, okay.
The other thing is that the things we've tried to accommodate, the
Right.
businesses we've tried to accommodate, they're gonna have a hard closure. We can't do that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, some of the other, we just gotta do a read on how, like retail, how we have allowed them to kinda operate with the doors closed and.
Right, they have to close
It's
now.
to me, it's not much different than delivery or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very, very limited and, quite honestly, I don't see how they can do a whole lot with the way they're
So,
operating right now.
so the retail curbside may still be an option
I
if,
don't know that
okay,
yet.
okay.
I think it may
No.
depend on what we're
No,
saying.
I would think everything now needs to close except for essentials.
okay.
Get buying a dress or pants. I am definitely for small businesses because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
Well, and
but
I,
think
and I
we need to
hear you.
We need to, do
The-
what we need to do now.
But and I totally agree with you, but the hypocrisy in some of this is that you can go to Walmart, like Walmart is able to sell clothes. And I had somebody that said that was in
agree.
Conyers, they had a cabinet shop and said, they're making me close the retail part of my cabinet shop, but they can go to Lowe's and buy cabinets. So it's like shifting the,
I do understand.
but how do you stop Walmart from selling clothes?
you can't,
But
I'm
you
just
can't.
saying,
I
so, I
mean-
mean, if there's a way that retail can still keep that appointment curbside only, I would hope that
Let's
that's
just
the case.
reserve that until we do it.
I don't think many
till-
people are doing it
till-
anyway,
Until we
so.
read this and answer the questions and we'll come down as hard as we need to.
And the thing is, we don't
We have
know.
any discretion whatsoever.
One thing I can say though, that is under our ordinance, we had the responsibility and the authority to interpret it.
That's right.
This is not our ordinance.
Yeah.
This is the
That's
state
right.
It's the
ordinance.
state
How-
ordinance.
That's exactly right.
How do we
Yeah.
interpret it, or the nuances of it, is
Right.
up to the
Does
state.
it say retail closed completely?
This is it.
I
It
didn't
doesn't say.
see that. I didn't see it.
I have not seen that.
Okay, I didn't.
May I address what we were talking about there about enforcing in our local ordinance a minute? I think the governor has overreached his power because the code section he cites, 38.351D1, vests the governor with the power to suspend the regulations only if the regulation would hinder or prevent necessary action in coping with the emergency. So he does not have the power to completely preempt what we're doing so long as it doesn't hinder or delay necessary action, period.
Yeah. Well, that'll protect us on the little extra nuances that we have. I mean,
It
I
will.
think, but I don't I think for this period of time and under the circumstances,
days
I
right
don't
now.
believe too many people gonna push back.
I don't
Because
think
there's,
so. It's just such a-
because he's, leveling the playing field and getting this
Yeah.
thing statewide as other states are doing by necessity.
And this is not a 30-day order, right?
That's
It's
right.
10 days.
It's
10
10 days,
days.
yeah.
10 days,
10
so
days.
not long.
No, okay.
And we don't know what he's gonna come back and do after
Yeah,
this period is over. If nobody really abides by this, he may come back and do something even stricter, so.
Well,
let's just
I
hope.
don't see how we're that far off right now.
I don't think we are.
I don't know how town can get, other than,
Right.
buying azaleas or buying, TP and, meat or sanitizer, hand sanitizer or, cleaning products. We're, I think, in compliance. And I appreciate the way the restaurants have adapted and the other businesses and the big box stores for doing all they can do to keep everybody safe.
And I think maybe too, what the governor's telling all of us for the next 10 days is to just be self-disciplined. Stay home, no contact, and let's see if we can beat this thing.
We got an excellent email from Jeff Hood. Thank you, Jeff, for being on the line and watching, but he just said, city council may want to go on the record to address best practices, suggestions, and how the governor's policy impacts private Easter egg hunts next weekend. So can you imagine how many people are going to try to do things that they really shouldn't do? Mix kids with kids hadn't been
That's not
around,
support,
so.
right.
Please, 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 this might be the best year just to have a little small family affair out in your own yard. Don't, please.
With the people that you've been with for a
Hill
while.
Park,
Yeah.
Hill Park, Gilbert Park, Wellington
They're
Park
closed.
are all closed
Yes.
to
Easter egg,
activities of
yes.
such. And if we hear
Yes.
about, or if I think there's been a big event on Easter at Hill Park.
Yeah.
It has
Please,
been,
whoever does
yes.
that, do
For
not
years.
try to do that this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it'll be monitored, I'm sure, by
Well,
the
when
code
we see
enforcement
gatherings,
officer.
and I think the police are going to address it.
Yeah, I'm so old I can hide my own Easter eggs.
You'll forget where you put them.
I want to
That's
say
right.
a thank you to Amicis and the First United Methodist Church for feeding 300 people every day this past week, and they will
Wow.
continue to do it
That's awesome.
through the month of April. It's a commitment, and you can drive through. You have to, you can't go, Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
on
no,
that,
I mean,
but
I'd
it's
love to.
it's for people that are, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
I
for people
understand.
that are
In need.
in need.
So are they
And-
actually getting 300?
They've gotten, so the
A
first
day?
day, they had 250, and then Butch Thompson, who has been a great partner with the city, with the Housing Commission and DDA, he is the leader on this, and he texts me and says, where do I go next? And so he went through Morgan Circle, and he went through the Deerfield and Deer Haven, I think. and-
So they're delivering.
They did that day because they,
They
the
know
word
they
hadn't
drive through,
got,
don't
the
they?
word hadn't gotten out the first day. So the
Okay.
first day was Wednesday. Yesterday, I texted him, and he said that they served all 300. I mean, and so, and they'll still take some to Morgan Circle at the very end, but it's just, it's just really, so I'm coming out of my stay at home. I'm gonna offer to help next week. So if anybody would like to help, there are volunteer opportunities with that, and I put it on my Facebook page. But it's just the beauty and heart of this community.
They're helping.
It's shining through, and
They're
and it's
So
a
how-
beautiful thing to see, huh?
So how the school is still doing this as well, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So this is for people that may not be impacted or don't have children. I mean, and honestly, you can get it from 1 to 3, so it could be your dinner.
Yeah.
You could grab something at 11 from the school, and then at 3, grab your
Right.
dinner, because it's like wraps, and it's all Amici prepared food, so you're
Okay.
getting,
That's
great
wonderful.
Amici food. I mean, so you talk about partnerships in the community that understand how important this is, and
That's
are,
great.
are stepping up to fill a need.
Yeah.
That shows true character.
I would also like to thank Union Spring and Pastor Terrell for allowing people to come and use the hotspot in their parking lot
Yeah.
for the people that don't have Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
So I thought that was huge too, because it's hard for some people to even, I mean, Wi-Fi is just not a necessity at this time for some people. A necessity is getting your lights paid and getting, your rent paid. So he opened up his church to not open the church
Yeah.
itself, but you
Yeah.
can drive up and use it for a hotspot for Wi-Fi.
Well, that's
But
great.
just
So I
as
think-
as a reminder, Town Park has Wi-Fi.
Town Park
and it's
also.
extended out.
Yes.
You don't have to go in the park. You can. There's plenty
You
of
can sit in your
space in
car.
there to sit around. You can sit in your car.
You can sit in your car.
And get the public Wi-Fi. Just let it come up on your device.
Good.
And it's
Yes.
and if it's not working, please let me know.
Yes.
We'll make sure we get it back up and going.
David, did you tell us, is the school putting out some hotspots?
They were considering that, but I think they pulled off that idea from
Okay.
what I understand.
Okay.
And they were gonna put them in buses and.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought
That's
so
what I'd
too.
heard.
But I don't
I
know.
did too.
I'm not sure if they went through with that. I'm not certain.
Are there any more questions from the public?
And another great, well, they'll come in a second, Mr. Mayor, but
Okay.
while, in the 30 seconds, the school career academy, the video is, if there's the desire to do another video for posting on our website or YouTube or whatever, they're going to be there. The gentleman that helped us with ours is going
Oh,
to be
they
there
did
again.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
And,
awesome. It
Dr.
was
Woodard.
Was that the one you were in, Mr. Mayor?
Right.
That
Doc-
was, that was very good.
Yeah.
Dr.
I kept
Woodard.
wondering why I couldn't hear traffic noise coming
I
down.
was like, you've
Main
got
Street.
this
Oh, he
thing
was in the-
memorized.
And
I was
on
like
the
so
green
impressed.
screen
with you.
and
I
Mr.
felt like the president.
You
I was
did,
able to-
you were-
Teleprompter.
You look like the president. Maybe,
I'm
maybe
gonna-
not.
I'm gonna brag on the mayor.
Well, thanks for doing it.
He
That was
didn't-
my thing.
Mr. Mayor didn't even read that himself.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, he didn't read it ahead of time.
Oh.
He, Monica and Ken and, Monica? Yeah, Monica wrote the copy, and then the mayor, it was read to him, and he went right into the studio without reading it himself and read it off the teleprompter one time. And that was it. He's a natural.
Nah,
Well,
just-
I think it was great, and I think if you can make it a weekly thing,
Yes.
even like the fireside chats that
Yes.
FDR did, people are craving,
They
know,
just want
somebody
information.
that,
Yeah.
even if it's good, bad, whatever they want,
Mhm.
they need to feel like they're,
Connected.
that's right, and
It's
have
always about
knowledge.
connection.
And,
But it's a good thing that our citizens are really watching our
yeah,
our
Mhm.
website.
yeah,
It
no,
really
it's
is.
good.
Says
So-
a lot for us.
All right,
Look,
no calls so far, no other emails.
Mr. Mayor, if I could do a quick public service announcement to kind of remind people at this crazy time that the census is ongoing, and I'm sure a lot of people have received little reminder cards of how to log in. There's a bunch of different ways you can respond, but it's really critical for all of us that we have a good turnout at this challenging time with our census. So I encourage everyone to please.
Do it online.
I've done
Do it
mine
online.
online, didn't take
and it's
Didn't take
simple.
5 minutes.
Exactly, it's a very
Very
simple
simple.
process, very quick.
And if you don't want a visitor, you need to go ahead and fill it out.
Well, right, or a lot of phone calls, because I'm sure the visitor will be the last resort.
Well, yeah, the problem is the visitors won't be able to come for a long time, so they
Exactly.
won't have the
Right.
information. So it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
important. I put it off until I got about the third notice, and Pam said,
Okay.
you better fill that out. So it's easy online, but back to the not having internet out, I'm talking about Morgan County too. You
Yeah.
know, it's pretty hard unless
It
you
is.
can get it.
The Red Bow campaign, I don't know if you've seen that. Gussie's House of Flowers has red bows, and they can bring them to your car. I have several, but I've already committed those. But those are supporting our hometown healthcare heroes that are on the front lines of this battle. We have a lot of people that live here that work in the ER, that work at St. Mary's, Athens Regional, and in Covington and the surrounding areas, and also the ones that are staying home and taking care of the homebound and the nursing home and the EMS workers and our firefighters and so those guys are on the front lines, the doctors, the nurses. And so if you want to get a bow, I suggest you reach out to Gussie's House of Flowers,
So-
and they'll bring you one,
So
and you
if
can
I
pay
see
for it.
If I see a red bow, does that mean a a frontline worker lives there, or
No,
just
No.
someone
it's just a,
supporting the?
it's like
the
the
concept.
tie yellow ribbon, you know,
Okay.
it's just a, it's a show of solidarity
Yeah.
for the people on the front lines, and this is a war, and they're our warriors.
They are.
And
They
so,
are.
I think I hope y'all support that initiative, so.
Yeah. Don't
Great
forget about
idea.
absentee,
Yeah.
excuse, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Don't forget also about absentee ballots. We're getting the little cards in the mail. So don't throw it away. Make sure you read about absentee ballot.
And if you've already voted,
If you've already voted, and
don't
don't
worry
worry
about
about it.
Yeah.
But if you
yeah,
haven't, don't
but if you
forget.
have not voted, you know, I think you need to,
So you can't vote early, vote often.
well.
But there's two different
Try it,
elections
David.
though, aren't there? I mean,
well, the next
I
election-
early voted for the presidential,
Yeah.
but there's the other,
Aren't they
Judges
gonna
and-
roll them into the same date, though?
I think
'Cause I
that
have
was,
not voted
that
for
was the
presidential.
plan, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're
Unless-
trying to
Into
do.
May,
Unless the
right?
Secretary of State, caves to pressure and moves it back further,
Moved it to July.
under a lot of
We'll
pressure.
see what
You
happens.
know, all of our state leadership, I commend them. It's tough. These are all things that nobody's, you know, ever seen
Not-
before.
not-
So, and
No
I,
roadmap for this.
no, so I commend them and
Well, I like-
pray for them too.
And I'd like to really thank our council for
Yes.
being on target, and
Yes.
we have these instant call meetings, and nobody never says, no, you're ready to come, and our city manager, and Ken, and our city clerk, thank you so much for just being willing to take that time to say, hey, let's do this. You appreciate it more
One
than
other
you
thing,
know.
the commissioners are going to meet their regular meetings on Tuesday,
Mhm.
and they're gonna use this exact setup in this room, and they'll be
Okay.
live streamed for
Awesome.
their meeting. We offered
Oh,
to
good.
That's
use our,
great.
That's
use
good.
our
Yeah.
It's
our
really good.
abilities, and we're working with their IT folks to get it set up
Right.
for their meeting to be held here.
Good collaboration, right? That's what our city and county does. Are there any, well, wait on a couple of comments from the public?
No, hadn't received a phone call or another email, so I guess we answered all the questions.
That it? Anybody else have anything that they would like to say? If not, thanks, be safe.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Nope, that's my wife calling. I'll answer.
She might have a
She
question.
might have a question, David.
Well, she's
Next meeting,
she's
Mr.
one of our
Mayor,
home
the
team.
13th still?
You know, we could talk about if we need to meet on the 13th, unless that's something urgent. We may not really have to,
Okay.
you know, I think,
We're gonna have to get Zoom, guys.
I don't know how Zoom will work with the with the
Open
meetings,
records?
with the open meetings
Mm.
thing. That's, because we have to have open meetings. I mean, I'm sure it's doable. I just don't know.
if nothing changes between here and next Monday, just Monday week, you know.
Yeah.
Unless it is urgent, I don't think we really have to meet, you know. We'll talk about it. We'll send out an email earlier.
I do think the suggestion, Mr. Mayor, that you might just give an update from here
I like that
yourself,
too. Mhm.
letting people know, and we can email each other back and forth if there's things that we think need to come out that people need to do. I think you're getting information from us, and we're getting it from our citizens about what's the questions they have, and
Right.
I think it might be best if you could have a regular schedule, either Monday
Meeting.
morning or just you by yourself. I think they'll know that what we're trying to do, and
Yeah.
that's open, and it's there, and you don't have a quorum, so it's not a open meeting or a called meeting or anything.
The thing about a set meeting that I like though, Ed, and unfortunately this morning isn't a good example of it, but it gives the public an opportunity to interact with us. Now, this morning, it didn't quite happen that way, but maybe with a regularly scheduled meeting like a week from Monday, there might be a chance for the public to have more involvement. That's the only thing I don't like about.
Well, what I was saying is if he would do, if we can get the video and somehow get it here where we could have call-ins, that people could call in and ask the mayor questions, I mean.
Oh,
that-
live with the mayor, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that-
yeah, that might not be a bad idea, like just a live session with the mayor and David, and that way, anyway,
We can work on it,
yeah.
something we can work on.
So when is the next thing for the Gilmore House Christopher feeding?
And not right now, there's no,
There's nothing
there,
now?
so, No, because that has transitioned into the church's effort, and I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think at this point, where the social distancing
Okay.
requirements that
Oh,
go
okay.
into that are almost.
Well, it was.
And
it
if
was good.
anybody needs anything, there is, there's a private group, and you've
I know
just sent,
Jamisha
and
Allen.
that's what's I mean, people have Facebooked me, so if there's a need, we'll hit it, but it's not gonna be in
one
an
place.
organized manner. And I think
Okay.
those groceries that they got were at least for 1 or 2 weeks. I think people were able to do it, and I appreciate Jamie Allen and
yeah.
Jean DeFort and all
Yes.
the wonderful women that really were so behind that.
Right.
But anyway, and look, there's this community again. It's just amazing. So.
That's great.
But I think at that point, I think the realization that to be able to do that at that level, it's totally counterintuitive to the shelter-in-place ordinance.
So is this just being sponsored by
Private people.
the church and then private? I
So
mean,
the
that's-
Gilmore effort was all private
Right,
donation.
right.
And I think some churches gave money, but most of it was private donation, drop-offs. And then the church is the Methodist Church is leading that with the Michis. And that fills a need. And then there's I think there's gonna be, we recognize, we don't know how long this is gonna go, so, there'll be other outreach. We just don't know how that's gonna look now, so. But this month, you can get a free lunch. And if you've got 7 kids in your house,
You get
7
free
kids
lunch.
can get, and it's a free meal, so, I think it's fairly substantive, and so
That's
it's.
great. You
I've
know,
had a lot of people very, very grateful and very, very impressed with that effort, so.
That's great. And just think about it. School is out for the rest of the school term.
Oh,
Our
those
kids-
poor
So many
sing-
kids eat a lot at home.
Well, and I feel
So it's
so
a big help for the parents.
sorry for
Right.
the teachers that were retiring, that don't get to say goodbye to their.
I know. It's
The
tough.
kids that are graduating, that don't get to give their valedictorian speech, don't get to, all that work is, and so we,
I think
commend
there's
them.
been notice from Dr. Woodard that there will be graduation and there will be a prom, some form or fashion.
okay,
And after, when it's safe to do, there's still
Okay.
going to be a graduation.
awesome.
And but I don't know if it'll be open to the whole public or what. It may
Right.
be just that, and it may be televised. They'll get to
Right.
walk down, they'll get to give their
So do
Their
the
speech-
socially distanced
So,
graduation.
but the school is really working hard
are.
to, I don't know if you noticed, I think I saw it on Facebook. I
Sheila
don't get on
Sanders.
Facebook, but they took their signs
They did.
for
Oh,
the
that
seniors that
was
are
so
graduating.
great.
They
And,
did.
and personally delivered it and put it in their front yard.
did.
And, that was a big uplift for the
It
graduating
was.
seniors. And the school system is really working hard, and,
Yeah.
they're gonna try to make sure that we can have a graduation and hear those speeches. And they're trying to make sure that hopefully the kids can have a prom.
Yes,
And,
they are. It's-
And
it's
you
amazing.
really hate it for the kids, those
Oh, my
graduating
gosh.
seniors, because
And the
this is a high
parents.
moment
Oh,
in
my
their life.
gosh.
You know, that they really
These are
look
the
forward
kids that
to.
were born in around 9/11.
Yeah.
So and then they've dealt with the financial crash, and then this, and so these kids are gonna be like warriors in about 10 years.
Yeah,
so.
my stepson he is graduating this year, and that's what he was saying yesterday. Oh, Lord, we don't have a graduation, I don't have a prom, and
And having
Yeah.
families to come and witness the ceremony, that's
Yeah.
it's tough times, yeah, really. Okay, no phone calls? Anything else from the council? Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And if we do decide to meet on the 13th, we will. We'll
I
put
think
that
we
right
should,
here.
I think we should. No? Are y'all saying we're not gonna meet on the 13th?
We're not saying, we'll see what we have, what we have going on.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be quiet the next 2 weeks, with everybody staying
I hope you're
indoor,
right.
you know.
okay,
That's it.
that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Be safe.